Hey guys, I want to show you a problem I've been having with my spring kit for my Model 60. Looks like it was what I would call defective springs in the new kit. So here's the Model 60. It's got some snap caps in here. I'm going to take them out. Okay, so we're good to go. Let me take off the handle here, the grips. Turn the gun over. I'm going to take out the screws. Careful to keep these in the right order. The middle screw is, the screw here is different from these two screws. The middle screw is a slight bit shorter than the end screw here. Just really a minuscule size difference, but if you put the wrong screw in, then I'll show you what's going to happen. So this screw is actually responsible for keeping this the cylinder holder in place. So once you take out that screw, you can slide this right off. If you put the wrong screw in here and you put the middle screw here, then it's going to tighten it down too much and it won't allow you to remove the cylinder. Now we're going to take off the case and we're going to show you the problem it's having with the problem we're having with the spring. So here's the trigger spring is in here, is located in this piece right here, and I replaced this with the kit to lighten the spring on this Model 60. The trigger pull is really hard, and the purpose of the spring kit is to lighten the pull from about 12 to 13 pounds down to about 8 to 9 pounds. So this replacement was easy. Here's the trigger and here's the hammer. And I'm going to show you how the hammer, we have to use the release here. You have to push it back to free up the hammer. When you pull back, the hammer will lock in place, and this is the single action. And when we pull the trigger, that's the single action. And of course double action is just, we pull this back, and that's the double action. The problem I had with this spring kit is this spring here. So I'm going to show you how to remove that. Pull down hard on this little control piece here, holder, and you can remove the spring. Okay, so these are the pieces for the spring. Now this is the new spring here, and you can see that the new spring is actually shorter than the original spring that was in the gun, and so this is supposed to lighten the trigger action. Okay, so let me show you what happens when I install the new spring. And first we put in the spring holder. It goes here. We add the spring. It goes here. Now we're going to put the retention clip on. You push down hard and push it back into place. Okay, now we're in place. So this is the replacement spring. When I try to do my single action, I've got to pull back here to release it, and it won't go to single action. You can see here that there's a gap between the hammer and the casing, and the hammer needs to be down on top of that casing in order to move this these pieces here between the trigger and the hammer into place to allow you to do single action. And I went through inspecting everything in here to try to figure out what was going on with this problem. And what I realized is that if you look here, when I pull back to release, you'll be able to see me pull down the trigger. This spring is actually compressing. Okay, this spring is actually compressing all the way that it will go along this this rod, but it won't allow it to compress enough. It's 100% compressed, but there's not enough room here to allow the the hammer to come back to single action. I'm going to take this out. I'll put back the original spring. And even though the original spring is longer than the replacement spring, let's see if I can get this back on here. Even though the original spring is longer than the replacement spring, it actually allows the spring to compress more. And so the hammer is all the way back against the casing, and this allows you to fire in single action. So that's a problem with the spring kit, and I notified the manufacturer. I'm not going to say who the manufacturer is right here, but that's a problem. And what worries me a little bit is if the spring was just long enough to allow the single action to come back, but not long enough to go the full length down to the casing, you could have a single action trigger pull that is really not solidly on the trigger when you pull it back. So that's something really to watch out for. This is, I think you could have a serious hazard if you put the wrong replacement spring in and you're not able to get it fully engaged in single action.